You are listening to Arcane Carolinas, an exploration of the Carolinas' folklore, legends, myths, and modern weird. Each episode, we examine the historical context of our topic and aim to preserve some of the stories that help make this part of the world such a fascinating place.
Hey y'all, Michael here. Happy Thanksgiving. Ooh, that was a heck of a spooky season we had this year. Charlie and I gave ourselves a little break to recover from it, but now we're back in the studio. As a way to show thanks this Thanksgiving for you listening to this podcast right now, and for the opportunity to appear at Abbeville Upstate Spirits Conference, we're sharing the first of the episodes that got recorded at that event. Before we get to that though, I want to thank Val, who wrote to talk about a lot of really cool things, including a couple of great story suggestions that are definitely going into the mix, and to very gently correct me on the first Gullah cookbook. Val pointed out she's got a Gullah cookbook that first came out in 1985. It's called Stirrin' the Pot on de Fusky. I did look up how to pronounce that, written by Billy Byrne. I confess, I based my assertion about the first Gullah or Geechee cookbook having come out in 2022 on marketing materials for that 2022 cookbook. You would think that a writer would know better than to trust the copy on the back of a book, right? Apparently not. So, my apologies for the error, and my very sincere gratitude to Val for letting me know. I mean, I love cookbooks. They're one of my things, so hearing that more cookbooks are in the world is always good news. And if there's anything y'all ever want to get in touch with us about, drop us a line at arcanecarolinas@gmail.com. Who knows, you'll probably wind up with some stickers. And now, on to the first of two episodes from the Upstate Spirits Conference in Abbeville, South Carolina from October of 2022. Again, happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for listening.
I will hit record. So we are recording live right now. Hello and welcome to Arcane Carolinas, live at the Upstate Spirit Conference in Abbeville, South Carolina. I'm your co-host, Charlie Newshaw, and next to me is not Michael G. Williams.
I'm not. No, this is Jessie Newshaw, and I'll be sitting in today for Michael G. Williams. I currently hold no awards, have published or written 0 books, so I have no credibility whatsoever, but I am thrilled to be here.
No credibility.
No, but it's good. It's kind of good.
You have credibility. You don't have accolades.
Okay, that's true.
For publishing.
I am a longtime listener of Arcane Carolinas. I'm a little biased.
You've had to hear me do it.
That's true. I've been to many live recordings.
In the house.
As an audience of one.
Right.
Some of your listeners might also know me from
the Poltergeist episode.
That, but also wasn't I on last year's Halloween episode?
That's right.
Technically.
You were on the live Halloween special.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, the 2021 Spooky Spectacular. You were the Sassy Squash.
Yes, I was. So this is technically my 3rd guest appearance.
Yeah, I guess
becoming
it is.
A regular.
I guess it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very excited to be here. We're very sorry that Michael could not be here, but I'm thrilled to be filling in today.
Yeah. So why Abbeville?
It's a great question.
It is a great question. Why are we in Abbeville for the Upstate Spirit Conference? And why is the Upstate Spirit Conference focused on Abbeville? I would say that the Carolinas are home to a number of towns that could be considered hotspots for the paranormal and unexplained. Ones that immediately jump to mind are Charleston, Wilmington, Murrells Inlet, Asheville, and now Abbeville. But it does beg the question from the historical perspective, since that is sort of our bread and butter, as why.
Can we, before we jump into the history, do we get to talk about our experience of Abbeville thus far?
Yeah, sure. We can talk about Abbeville. So Abbeville, South Carolina is in Abbeville County, and we're going to get into all that. But we spent last night at the meet and greet dinner at the Upstate Spirit Conference. We met some really nice people that you will get to hear on an Arcane Carolinas Case Files episode later this month. And we also wandered around the town a bit.
And let's just make sure that everyone knows, because many people, maybe like me, and prior to this trip to come here for this conference had never heard of Abbeville before.
Which is funny because it is a very historically significant town, which we're going to get into.
Well, but had you heard of it before?
Yes, because the Grim Wanderers told me.
Okay. All right. I, knowing very little comparatively about history, had never heard of Abbeville, but we did we kind of came in, right on the cusp of needing to sit down for the meet and greet dinner. So we didn't really get to explore very much as we drove into town. We had our great dinner, and then we finally had a little chunk of time. We were able to go out and walk around. And let me just tell you, this town could not be more adorable. And I said, as we were walking around, I said, this is like a movie set. And what did we find out when we came back into the hotel?
They have filmed movies here.
They have filmed at least one major motion picture. Are we allowed to say the name of it?
Sure.
It was
Enemy of the State.
It was with Julia Roberts. Yeah. And so we found, because this hotel has great...
The Belmont Inn.
The Belmont Inn. Yep. And it is just wonderful and beautiful 120-year-old hotel with lots of charming details. I'm taking pictures of every doorknob I see. Every nook and cranny has something adorable and historic in it. And they have great historical representation all around the inn. So as we were walking around reading and looking through the things that they have on the walls, we found out that there was in fact a movie filmed here. I think it was in the 90s.
Early 90s. 90s. And what's interesting is that the documentation that they have around the hotel is the kind of stuff that you won't necessarily read, if you're just looking into Abbeville history.
Right.
It's really niche stuff. There's a lot to see here. There's a lot of cool local businesses to plug. We can't possibly plug them all. I would like to plug Wanderwares, which is an eclectic traveling sales of, I don't know how to...
There are many rocks and crystals and minerals. There are cool there's
custom
artistry.
Clothes. There's artistry in the custom clothing. Cool antiques.
Really cool coins, things that antiques. Are forged, as well as things that are found, and things that are found crafted. And repurposed. Yes,
and crafted.
Using artistry. Really beautiful stuff.
Really neat stuff. Aquabun Art, who creates really nice watercolor art, represents Abbeville on the East Coast. You can find her at Renfests and Comic-Cons. Some of the stores directly in town, in addition to the Belmont Inn, which is, again, so much history in this building that I almost made the entire episode about just the hotel.
I think you could do a whole episode on that.
Absolutely. Maybe we should later.
We'll see what else happens this weekend.
Yes. Well, you know what? That's a teaser. We will save what has already occurred here and been shared with us for a possible future episode.
Bookmark placed.
Yeah. What was the place on the corner? Two Brews?
Two Brews.
Which is not a brewery.
It's not.
It's a bakery.
They have not even one. Lest two brews, but they do appear to have quite a lot of baked goods.
I mean, you brew coffee, right?
Do they even have? We don't know. We haven't been yet, but we will go. And we'll confirm whether or not there's coffee.
It looks nice, and it comes highly recommended.
It does. We have to plug the restaurant at the Belmont Inn. I believe it's JP's.
Yes, excellent food here. Excellent food at JP's.
Is it family friendly enough to also share that they make a mean old fashioned?
Yes, that is fine.
Okay. We should plug that. I mean, there's nothing better than a good old fashioned at the end of a day that involves a 5-hour drive. So it must be said.
So Abbeville.
Let's talk about it.
It's got a lot.
Is that the tagline for Abbeville?
It's got a lot.
Yeah. Isn't that? I think that might be Charlotte's tagline already.
I feel like that's
Charlotte's got a lot.
I feel like the taglines for towns that when I do these are usually "It's a place to be" or "It's got a lot."
They probably have something better than that.
Yeah, I am not a.
Julia Roberts was here. No, there's probably something even better. Yeah.
So to get into the why Abbeville is important to cover for Arcane Carolinas, it's important to consider the people and events that make up the history of the location and the different theories on what paranormal phenomena actually is and what causes it and how we can align that to the verifiable history. So, Abbeville is a town, as I mentioned, located in Abbeville County, which was established in 1764 by French Huguenots.
Okay, stop. Can you please tell me what a Huguenot is?
Yes, it is a Calvinist Protestant denomination.
Okay. All right.
So French Protestants
Okay.
that had moved to the New World to establish a place for themselves. And it's named after the town of Abbeville in France. So they didn't get super creative with it.
Not creative at all.
The French settlers were like, we are from Abbeville and we will call our new home Abbeville.
Yeah.
And eventually the county will also be called Abbeville.
Okay. All right. So minimal effort put into the naming, but I'm sure cool things happened after that.
Right. So that was 1764.
Okay.
In 1777, there was a significant treaty signed between European settlers and a delegation of 600 Cherokee representatives.
Okay.
Known as the Treaty of DeWitt's Corner.
Okay.
DeWitt's Corner is no longer the name of that town where it was signed. It's now called Due West.
Due
Due West, which
some creativity went into the renaming.
Well, it was
not much.
Due West of something.
Yeah.
But that is still located in Abbeville County.
Okay. Abbeville County is quite large.
It is. It is a significantly sized county. A few years after that treaty was signed, on March 18th, 1782, future American Vice President and historically significant character John C. Calhoun was born in Mount Carmel, South Carolina. And his first law practice was actually right here in Abbeville, the town.
Okay.
Probably not shocking based on the politics of Mr. Calhoun and the antebellum period in general. Abbeville was a hotbed of secessionist sentiment in the run-up to the Civil War. Big focus on states' rights and why they needed to maintain autonomy from the Union.
Okay.
It actually has the unique distinction of being both the place where the Confederacy started and was dissolved. Like
in Abbeville.
In Abbeville.
Wow, okay.
So Abbeville is where the Confederacy started and it's where it ended.
And we did there's a monument right in the middle of the square. And that all makes sense now why that is the prominent midpoint of the town.
Yeah. So on November 22nd, 1860, a meeting was held in Abbeville at a site that has since been dubbed Secession Hill.
Okay.
Because that is where it's really on the nose with the naming.
Yeah, the naming, nothing subtle going on here.
That is where South Carolina began the process of seceding from the Union. And 1 month later, it was ratified, and South Carolina was actually the first state to secede. And at the end of the Civil War, with the Confederacy crumbling, Confederate President Jefferson Davis fled Richmond, Virginia, as Union troops approached, stopped for a night in Abbeville.
Do we know where he stayed?
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
He stopped at the home of his friend, Armistead Burt.
Okay.
And on May 2nd, 1865, in the front parlor of what is known as the Burt-Stark Mansion, right here in Abbeville, Davis held the last cabinet meeting of the Confederacy. And it's interesting. He didn't want to throw in the towel.
Okay.
But everybody was like, dude, it's done.
Right.
Like, we're done. And was talked into by his cabinet to acknowledge the dissolution of the Confederacy. So it ended here. It started here and it ended here. These days, so conflicting reports on this. Per Wikipedia, which is always an amazing source of knowledge.
Yeah, it sometimes can be.
Sometimes it
can lead you down different paths you may not have discovered had you not stopped there first.
There's the Prismian copper wire tower was built in 2009. It's 373 feet tall with 30 floors, and it's supposed to be the tallest building in South Carolina.
So there it is. You would not tell me last night what was the tallest building. It is the tallest building in the state.
Yeah, supposedly.
And it's in Abbeville.
Supposedly.
Tell again, what is it again?
The Prismian Copper Wire Tower.
And what do they do there?
I assume it is a company that makes copper wire.
Why does it need to be so tall?
Because corporations like to flex their their power by building giant buildings.
So it's penile.
That's basically what I was trying to work around. Yes, it's bigger than everyone else's.
I think there was some mystery for me around what was going to be this tallest building in the state that happens to be in Abbeville, and I was really hoping it was going to be something other than a corporation.
Nope, it's corporate building.
Okay,
look at our giant building.
We will go look at it.
Yeah. The primary economic drivers in the area are agricultural and industrial these days. Tons of historical sites around town. I would say most of which have some sort of spooky history associated with them. In preparing to talk about Abbeville, I was not comped this book. I did pay for it, so this isn't a plug. And I read The Apparitions of Abbeville by a Marjorie Linnell. Again, I was not comped on that, but it's a collection of stories and firsthand accounts on a very tightly focused geographic area, just this town. And she really left no stone unturned with these locations. I mean, it's like every building has a story. And that did lead me to wonder. I was like, so why is the town so haunted? And I want to explore a theory.
Okay.
Some folks are saying people are attributing paranormal occurrences to disembodied, like lost souls of people that have died, soul, consciousness, whatever. But that energy or piece of that person has remained behind and is able to interact with the living. But
okay, I'll let you go.
Yeah. Some folks will attribute occurrences to extra-dimensional spirits that meddle in the world of man.
And but that still leaves me begging the question: why a higher concentration of this in Abbeville than elsewhere?
I did not pay her to say that.
I didn't even know what we were going to be talking about.
Right. We are doing this the same way that we normally do a format, where Jessie has not been informed of any of my research, so she doesn't know. And what I like is it's commonly referred to as the stone tape theory.
Okay, let's get into it.
So, for the sake of a lot of ghost stories in Abbeville, you could go with the unresting souls idea, since a lot of people have been killed in and around the town. But that wouldn't explain all of it. Mm-hmm. So I like the stone tape theory a lot, because it has historically verifiable, highly emotionally charged events occurring around town. And you're not familiar with the stone tape theory?
I'm not.
Okay. So the idea is basically, it leans heavily into like, I'm going to get real woo-woo on you here.
Love it.
We're going to say psychic energy, or like, it's like in the same realm as like ESP and like, the idea that mental impressions during emotional or traumatic events can be projected in the form of psychic energy onto an object or a space or a location. And that they're essentially recorded, and what people are observing are actually just like something being replayed.
Not necessarily in relation to somebody who is currently. Do they even have to be dead for this replaying to happen? Or
that's an interesting question. In the case that I'm trying to make right now, the theory is that is what the idea. It's like recording something to a tape.
Okay.
And that once the person has died, like if you see a ghost in a room, what you're really seeing is just like that specific event being replayed. It's not that person's spirit is there. So I don't know.
Just a higher concentration of energy due to an emotionally salient event that occurred in a particular place.
Yeah.
So that thing could not necessarily, turn up elsewhere. It's only in a particular spot, which I do like for situations where you have different accounts of people. For example, I think you recently had a story about like an alley
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The chicken alley.
The chicken alley, right? It's just in the alley. It's not like people are seeing this thing elsewhere.
Yeah. The dude's
it is
not.
This
It's specifically
place,
right there, where he was murdered.
Right.
And where he liked to hang out.
Would say is an emotionally salient event.
I would
being
say
murdered in a particular place. But these things aren't always related to a place where somebody has died. Correct?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like a bad. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It can be like
any sort of heightened emotion, even positive emotion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you are super invested into, we just had a conversation with somebody about a desk, right?
Okay,
so like if you're like really sitting there and like you spend 90% of your time working at this desk and really pouring yourself into the work that is on this desk,
emotionally important to you.
The idea is that like maybe your ghost would appear to someone that is sensitive to these types of energies later because it would be basically projected onto and recorded onto this object.
What about a haunting somewhere where two people fell in love? Because I quite like the idea of that. The romantic in me likes the idea that there could be some haunting in relation to something like that.
I think that we have seen that with like Lovers Lanes and Rocks. Let's pause for 1 second. Hey man, how's it going?
Hey buddy, how you doing?
I'm Charlie from Arcane Carolinas.
I'm Jessie. I'm not from Arcane Carolinas, but I'm co-hosting today.
Right on.
Yeah, if you would like to come on and talk about your group,
okay.
Please feel free. We're recording like a regular episode right now, and all this stuff is free. Feel free to take whatever you like.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to take no.
Yeah, take it all.
Please don't make us pack it back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have friends that you think would like it, take it for them too. It's all free. But yeah, right now we're recording a little bit about the history of Abbeville and
Gotta get your koozie.
I just did the Belmont investigation. I was the investigator last
yeah.
night. I was up till about 5 o'clock this morning, clean up and do evidence locker and everything like that. And just taking all the stuff back up in the room on the second floor. It took me a long time to come back down here. I had to shower,
Sure.
my teeth brushed, and try to get the red out of my eye.
Hey, man.
For the past 2 days, but it was a lot of fun. I have the Zoom H4 in.
Yeah.
I would love to have him talk about the investigation because we didn't join the investigation because we're old ladies and we got to go to bed by like 9 o'clock. But I would love to hear more. I mean, we did hear it.
Yeah, you heard it?
In the hallway.
Oh, okay.
Here and there,
Yeah.
as we were like, ruffling around trying to sleep. But it would be really cool to have you come talk a little bit about the investigation
Plug your
and what
group,
you guys
tell people how to get in touch with you, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
That'd be really
Yeah,
cool.
that would be great. Whatever time you prefer.
All right. Are you
Really,
right
just
out
finish
here?
this up and then we'll come grab you.
Okay.
2 vendor tables actually, like right
Okay.
As soon as I wrap this up, I'll come grab you.
Yep.
Awesome, man.
Awesome. Okay.
So yeah, I do like that it could be. Hold on. And we're back. But I do like that. And I think that you see that in stories about like Lovers Lanes, where it's like, oh, and this couple will appear here. Or I can't remember the name of it, but there's like a rock somewhere. So yeah, so that's the stone tape theory in a nutshell. I'm sure someone will email me and tell me I got some aspect of that wrong.
Well, I love it as you explained it.
Yeah. So chop it up however you want. There's a million ways how you can describe it, but that's the nutshell version. So stories from Abbeville.
Okay.
Like I said, there's a lot to choose from. One of my favorites from that book is about a horse. But that would be a very short story.
So we're not going to get into the horse?
I mean, there's supposed to be a ghost horse, which I like.
There is also a really beautiful horse outside of the Belmont Inn, but that is actually a real brass horse?
Yes.
Yeah, gorgeous.
So, but I thought since we talked about the Burt-Stark Mansion a little bit in the history portion of the talk, that would be a good spot to focus on.
Okay.
Specifically because I can sync it up with the stone tape theory.
Love it.
So the Burt-Stark Mansion, also known as the Armistead Burt House, has had several owners since originally being built in the 1830s. It was commissioned by someone named David Leslie. Leslie was a local attorney, judge, planter, and Presbyterian church elder. So a real pillar of the community.
Sure.
He sent an enslaved man named Cubic, that was a master carpenter, to look at it's now uncredited or unknown house, only described as up north. So he sent an enslaved man who was master carpenter to look at this house that he liked. And Cubic then returned and oversaw the construction of Leslie's dream house, which is this mansion.
So it was an existing house that he wanted to
Kinda
essentially
copy.
he wanted to remake it.
Yeah.
Okay. In Abbeville?
Yes.
Okay.
So David Leslie owned it till his death in 1855. And the next owner was another Presbyterian church prominent person. It was a pastor named Thomas Hoyt. Thomas Hoyt did not own it long. He owned it until 1859, and then he moved to Kentucky.
Okay.
And a banker from Charleston, Andrew Simmons, bought it from him. And in 1862, it turned hands again to Armistead Burt, who owned it, like I mentioned, when Jefferson Davis used the building. Interestingly, Davis's wife, Verena Davis, had met Armistead Burt when Jefferson Davis first entered the Congress, the U.S. Congress, in December of 1845. So when the Civil War kicked off, Burt invited Verena Davis and the Davis children to come live in the house.
Okay.
Because she was being sent away from Richmond, saying like, hey, guess what? You're a target now.
Right.
Maybe you should move a little further south.
Yep.
So the Davis family, except for Jefferson, moved into the home at that time. In 1868, Burt actually sold the house due to bankruptcy.
Oh, okay.
And at that point, it transferred to a local planter named James R. Norwood. He died in 1875. His widow and daughter inherited it. They sold it in 1900. And in 1900, when it was purchased by James Samuel Stark, he and his wife commissioned a restoration.
Okay.
So at that
They probably needed it by then.
Yeah, by then, if you're selling something in a bankruptcy sale, some maintenance is probably...
Changed hands quite a few times. Yeah.
And on their death, their daughter, Mary Stark Davis, inherited it. And she died pretty recently in this grand scheme of things in 1987.
Yeah. Okay.
And at that point, the Abbeville Historic Preservation Commission was given control of the house. And they've sort of like operated tours there ever since and taken over the upkeep. So, ghosts of the mansion.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's get into it.
Let's get in it. The mansion is available for tours based on the website. It looks like they do like weddings and photography sessions there too. Like a lot of historic houses do that, right?
Yep. We now your wife is on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I do have to quickly mention that we were not technically married in a mansion, but we had like our wedding.
We threw a party
in a really beautiful historic mansion.
It's a real rager.
It's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dressed up fancy and threw a big party.
There were probably some hauntings in that mansion.
Probably.
Things went missing, unexplained.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not. That's going to be for a different episode, but these things tend to happen in these historic mansions. So, Stark Mansion.
It's home to several reported ghost sightings.
Okay.
The stories are largely unattributed in books and blogs. It's just, the whole... Some people are saying that they see X,
Who are these
Y, Z,
people? When did they say it?
Right.
How long have they been saying it?
So it's a lot of unattributed and anonymous sources. But if I want to consider 3 of the apparitions. Ghost 1.
Okay. Are we going with Ghost 1 for the name of this ghost?
Well, I was about to say they call it Miss Mary.
Love that even more than Ghost 1.
After the final owner.
Okay. Got it.
So, Mary Stark Davis.
So did she die in the house?
That I could not find.
Okay. All right.
So, Mary Stark Davis, final owner of the house, passed away in 1987. Reportedly still lingers around the house. Her likeness, an apparition with her likeness is said to appear in many, many rooms, like all around the house.
Okay.
One individual from the Abbeville Historical Society commented anonymously, for fear of being made fun of, that Miss Mary was known to take great pride in the home and has been reported as a non-threatening entity simply going about her business since her passing. I really like this a lot because, like we mentioned, it's confined to the home. She was obviously very invested in the home. Had been in the family for a long time.
She grew up for part of her childhood in the home, correct?
Yep.
So she not only spent quite a bit of time there as a child, but then came back to live there as an adult. Do we know if she had a family at the time that she lived? No family.
No. It's just her.
Just her. Okay, but still, that's a significant portion of 2 parts of your life.
Yeah, there's the story goes that it was just her in the house when she died, and but I like it because it's confined to the home and it's not confined to one room, and it kind of tracks for somebody being emotionally invested. It's a fun one.
It's a fun one, and it's also not terribly spooky. She's not scaring people. She's not torturing people with spooky, scary things, right? She's just
going
there,
about her business,
doing her thing in her home where she spent a significant portion of her life.
Yep.
I like it. And it definitely goes with the, what do we call it, the stone tape theory. Mm-hmm. Yeah, love.
So Ghost 2 is described very generically as the Southern Lady.
Okay,
so this one's a little thinner on details. It said that a young woman, the appearance of a young woman is fairly regularly known to descend the main staircase and then vanish. So starts at the top, gets to the bottom, blip, gone.
okay.
Dressed in what's described as fancy old-timey clothes.
Okay, as you would wear at the time.
Right, and so sticking with the stone tape theory, since that's what we're using for this entire episode, I like to think this could have been one of Davis's daughters.
Why can't that have been Miss Mary?
I mean, I guess it could, but going with stone tape theory, I imagine it being a highly stressful and emotionally charged time for a child who has been sent away from their home. You know, the family is split up, sent away from their home to live in a friendly but stranger's house.
Yeah.
Becoming an unwitting political figure against their will. Like, they have no say in that. They're a child. That then has to evacuate the temporary home again. Like, they're then run out at the end of the war. They have to go again, and they don't get to see their dad because the family was sent away before Jefferson Davis came back to it because everything was falling down. Like, it was done. It was over. The South had lost.
Yeah.
And they were fleeing, essentially. And they're like, no, you can't wait for your dad to get here. You're still a target. You got to go.
Certainly a highly emotionally charged time.
Like a reunion interrupted.
Yes.
Like, you know your dad's coming, but you don't even get to see him.
I can't imagine.
After you've been separated.
Yeah. And
the things that you're hearing around town about what's happening in your world and like, and you have no autonomy over any of it.
And this ghost number 2 is described as a younger woman?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I like that as one of Jefferson Davis's daughters.
Okay. It makes sense. I wish we had more details on that one.
They're all a little thin.
Yeah.
And I understand why people might not want to volunteer their experiences for fear of mockery or whatever.
I mean, if we can pause here briefly, we've been together for 11 years? About 11, a little over 11 years.
Let's go with 11.
I only very recently told you about some experiences I have had. So I do agree that oftentimes these are things that people experience. You go, well, that was interesting. I certainly won't be telling anyone about that.
Yeah, you keep it close, right?
Sure.
So ghost number 3. The Confederate Soldier.
Okay, this was going to happen.
I don't love this one because I feel like every town in the South has a Confederate soldier story.
They're on every corner.
Right. And this one is debated as to who it is, what it is, whatever. But the details are specific enough that a Confederate soldier seen in uniform will appear by the bedroom that Jefferson Davis stayed in for that one night before throwing in the towel.
Do we have any reason to believe that there were soldiers in the home?
Yeah, so he had a security detail. He traveled with a security detail. Some folks say that it's Davis himself. I like that it is a Confederate soldier assigned to the Davis security detail who sees the writing on the wall, is on the run, knows that it's all crumbling down around him.
So that's the emotionally salient piece of this to
For me,
tie it to the stone tape theory.
Specifically, the night before the dissolution of the Confederacy. I buy that it would be a soldier. I don't buy that it would be Davis. Why would Davis be in a uniform standing guard outside of his own room?
Right. That's why I didn't even jump to that at all.
Yeah.
Is there any other details about what that's all he's doing? He's just standing there,
just like a sentry.
Okay. And this again has been reported from multiple.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, my least favorite too.
Yeah, that's why he's number 3.
Yep. Okay. I mean, I'm loving Miss Mary.
I like Miss Mary. I feel bad for Ghost number 2 based on what I think it could be.
Right.
Ghost 3, I'm like, sorry, guy. You're kind of the runt
You're the
of the
runt
litter.
of the ghosts of the Stark Mansion. Yeah. But I will go for Miss Mary.
But you got a house full of ghosts.
Yep.
You have historical events that you can align to them. And whether this is true phenomena that appears or it's just people using storytelling to process those historical events, which is a thing that sometimes people do. I think it's a great historical location. I think Abbeville is a fascinating town worth checking out. For you, because I know you like furniture.
I sure do.
You love furniture.
Just recently, before beginning this recording, I was taking photos of a couch in the room where we are recording.
To give folks that are joining us in this discussion a little bit of insight behind the curtain, I have said to you at one point, no more chairs. Stop buying chairs.
I love them.
No more chairs. We're out of room.
We must sit.
Yeah.
And we must have many functioning seating arrangements.
Too many
what
chairs.
If we were to have a party and invite everyone that we know?
They could sit in one of our 10,000 chairs.
Yes, now we're prepared. We're ready for anything.
That requires sitting.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we have the garage. That's not why we have the garage.
That's not why we have the garage. So anyway,
okay.
To my point, a lot of furniture currently in the mansion goes back to the 1800s, and the Historical Society has done a really good job with the preservation efforts and the curation of the property.
Great.
So if you're in Abbeville, check out the mansion. If there's not an event going on, take a tour. Yeah, that's pretty much it for...
If you want to take a tour, do you need to get on their website, contact someone at the mansion to get that pre-planned? Can you just pop in? How does that work?
Why you got to ask the hard questions?
Because you should know the answers.
Yeah, no, Google it.
Okay, so...
Google the Burt-Stark Mansion.
If you want to go, are any of the chairs for sale?
I highly doubt it.
Should we go look?
We should probably go look, but I'm not going to try to buy their chairs.
I might.
You might, but you're not gonna.
All right. Well,
let me rephrase
I definitely want to check
you
it out.
might buy it, but it's not making it back home.
It's not making it back.
The ghosts are going to get it. It's just going to disappear.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited to go at least check it out.
Yeah.
In our little walkabout later today.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for doing this with me.
It's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it.
All right. See you soon. Abbeville.
Signing off.
I'm
sure you'll hear from
I
me
never know
again.
how to end these. I usually have somebody that does know how to end them.
We're going to go buy some crystals. Check you guys later.
Bye. All right, and we are recording right now. And just to be clear, we may edit out ums and uhs, but we will never edit anything about the intent of what you're trying to say. That's not what we do. It's all just you do you, and that's that.
To be clear.
I'm glad that I have a witness here that has seen the routine before and can vouch. So anyway, welcome back to another segment of Arcane Carolinas Case Files at the Belmont Inn as part of the Upstate Spirit Conference. Sitting here with some great paranormal investigators. Share a little bit about yourselves.
My name's Mark Warren of Carolina Ghost Whispers, team founder and leader.
My name is Jace. I'm co-founder, co-owner of Carolina Ghost Whispers Investigations.
Awesome. And, one of the things that we'd like to do with these episodes is we'd like to profile paranormal investigators, just talk to them for a minute, give them an opportunity to promote their group, let people know how to get in touch with you if you want them to get in touch with you. Leads, are you open to receiving leads from folks? Is that something that you would like?
Yep, sure.
All right. How should people get in touch with you?
So, you can get in touch with us by Facebook, Carolina Ghost Whispers Investigations.
And we will also be making a YouTube for the purposes of investigations to show people of our findings and showing the comfort of people who need it.
Awesome. So you're here at the Upstate Spirit Conference. Are you participating in any of the investigations that are part of this weekend?
We are not.
Okay, me neither. Arcane Carolinas is not a paranormal investigative group. Do you have any fun stories you could share or want to share, or is that more something you want people to go to the Facebook page to find?
We can talk about a couple experiences we've had, stories.
Yeah, hit me with a quick one. Let people know what to expect.
So we have a client. We actually have our home base. We have permission from a client who does not live at a current house or residence at the time. We have somewhat of a contract with them saying that we can use their location for trainees of our group, so that way we can see and help them experience.
I have never heard of an arrangement like that. That's awesome.
The arrangement is we can go there for free anytime we really want to, honestly. And the benefit of that is all we have to do is just show them any new findings.
Dude, you have a paranormal investigative training ground.
Exactly.
You realize that's special, right? Like, you realize that's unique.
It is.
You are the first people I have ever talked to that have communicated that. That's amazing.
Well, most people go to these free locations that Devil's Tramping Grounds, for example, but you can't go there anymore because people have disgraced it and done so much stuff, and we don't do that.
I had a lovely picnic there.
One of the experiences that I've had at this location in Pembroke is we did a Epstein session where you're blindfolded, you can't hear because you have headphones over, and all you're hearing is static from a spirit box. Mm-hmm. I'm in the room by myself, in the hallway actually, and there is photographic proof and there is video evidence. We had a recorder facing me, everyone was outside, and we're talking through a walkie. We feel like walkies, because of the radio waves, it might help with communicating with the spirits or any type of entity that is there. They were asking questions apparently, and I wasn't hearing anything through the spirit box. But all of a sudden, on my shoulders, I felt a burning sensation in a way. And I didn't think of it at first or anything of it. I just thought, just bad posture, whatever like that. And I'm in there about 10-15 minutes. They come in, tell me, hey, did you feel anything, get anything? I was like, well, yeah, I felt like I was like being pushed down. My back was being heavy. And then after thinking about it, I'm like, maybe they asked if they could touch me. Hey, can you check my back real quick? You can see 2 distinct handprints on my back, like someone, like a reverse choke on the back wise, like someone's giving you a back massage type of thing. You can see the thumbprints on the back, and keep in mind, some people can say that it was sun, like a sunburn. This was in this type of weather, October, hurricane weather. We had a mini hurricane come by, so it was not stunning whatsoever. I'm not allergic to poison ivy or poison oak, so that's out of the question, so no one can't say, well, you must be allergic to something. I'm not allergic to anything. But that right there, 2 distinct handprints on the back of my neck. And we have a camera facing, so you can't just say, well, you had someone, behind you. So that was one of my greatest experiences I've been on the field about.
Is this something that you share on your Facebook page? Like, can people, or will you share it on your YouTube channel when you set that up?
We will when we set it up. We are looking for more locations. Still getting our team. We're now officially getting our team together, our group together. We hit the max of our team. All they have to do is just be trained on this location, and we'll probably be going to other locations more or less.
Okay, outstanding. So people should keep an eye out for your YouTube channel. The Facebook page is active right now, and when the YouTube channel is active, you'll put a link on the Facebook page, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we also have a website as well called Carolina Ghost Whispers Investigations, and the link to the website is on the Facebook page. So you can go on our Facebook page to go to the website, and we also have a contact digital business card we use that has access to the website,
Okay.
the Facebook page, and
Yeah, like
all
a one-stop
that.
shop.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great. Well, I really appreciate you being willing to come on and share a little bit about your group and let people know how to get in touch with you. I sincerely hope that people do get in touch with you. What areas geographically are you based out of, willing to travel to, whatever? Because you don't want to get stuff from come to Texas if you're in North.
Right now, we are trying to see if we want to branch out. Right now, at the moment, we are just currently Carolina based. Mm-hmm. We will be going to other highly locations when we get the budget for it.
Sure.
We're not profitable, so we don't ask our clients for money.
Okay. That's important.
Exactly.
Say that again into the mic.
We don't ask clients for money. We're
There you
not
go.
a profitable organization.
No, that's important. Well, great. I feel like I'm doing an ad for Ghostbusters right now. I'm like, are you haunted by sounds of the night? Are you in the Carolinas? Call these guys. But no, I really do appreciate you sharing. So if you're in the Carolinas and you have something spooky going on that you want investigated, hit them up. It's recording now. I'll bring us in, and I'll keep an eye on this. If you see me adjust the volumes or whatever, it's just because I'm watching these lines.
Yeah.
If you're gonna hop on here, let's make sure we get you in front of the mic. So y'all might want to pass the mic back and forth a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, so welcome to another segment for Arcane Carolina's Case Files at the Upstate Spirit Conference in Abbeville, South Carolina. I am joined right now by Stokes Paranormal Investigations and Research.
Yes.
How you doing?
Hey, buddy. I'm doing all right, man. I'm going on probably about 2-3 hours of sleep the past couple of days. I've been investigating really hard.
Yeah, y'all were up last night right here in the Belmont Inn, right?
Yes, sir. I was marked down for being lead investigator. We had 30 people paying tickets to come over here, and I had to split them up with team captains from my squad over here. I run a state team for South Carolina, and we've got about 23 people right now on the team, and half of them was able to make time for everybody. So we split it up. All right, 30 people. We split it up into 6 different individual teams of 5 with a team captain from our specific people.
Well, let's
And
introduce each of you.
Jason Newman, my Upstate director.
Hey, how you doing?
That's cool. I don't think we said your name, Ron.
Ron Stokes. Yep, Ron Stokes, Stokes Pro Studio, Stokes Paranormal Investigations Research. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter and all over the place. MySpace even.
Really?
Old
You got a
school.
MySpace?
Yeah,
That's a trip.
Old school.
So it looks like the email address, if people wanted to get in touch with you. Sorry about that. I got hung up.
You good?
Stokes Pro Studio 803@gmail.com.
Yep.
You got an office number on here. Is it okay to read that off?
Rocket.
All right. 803-477-7681.
There you go.
At spr.headquarters.
Yep.
You can catch them there as well. So you did the Belmont Inn last night.
Right.
And you're doing another one tonight.
Exactly.
So you just don't sleep.
No, not yet. Not yet.
You gotta get some sleep, man.
I know.
For us, sleep is sleep is an option. That we don't get that much.
Where are you headed to tonight?
We're headed to Two Bruce tonight.
Right here on the square in downtown
Right,
Abbeville.
yeah.
Right
Right.
across the street.
Yeah.
Across the street.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting.
We are.
Now, on your social media and websites and contact information, do you want people to get in touch with you? Like, if they have something they want investigated, should they get a hold of you?
Yes, sir. I do a whole bunch of residential, commercial, emergency cases. I am also part of 2 international teams with the Warren Legacy Foundation and the Solomonic Order of St. Michael's Archangels. And we are also able to handle some of the harder cases.
Okay.
I was an investigator for 20 years.
Okay.
And after that 20 years, I ran into some very difficult cases that I needed help with. So now I have people set up across the state, set up across the world to being able to take care of what we need to do.
Awesome. And they can get a hold of you through any of those channels that we talked about.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
That sounds great. You can tell me no. Okay. No is an acceptable answer.
I don't like that in my vocabulary.
No judgment. Do you ever get permission to share any of your evidence from your cases on your websites or social media cases or media pages?
Well, I have a contract that they signed that gives us rights towards it.
Okay.
I never really tried to share too much from these cases that would be identity basis. I make sure that everybody has an anonymity.
Okay, but if somebody wants to see some of the stuff that you've encountered, they can go to these.
They'll see exactly
Cool.
what happened, where it happened, but not know the address, not know the names.
Right.
That's about it.
No, that's respectful.
Just to save them.
Well, that's good. I know that a lot of times when we're having these conversations with paranormal investigators like yourself, sometimes we'll get a follow-up email or something that says like, hey, I want to see what they were talking about. So it's good to know that folks can go and check that out on your site.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Spur Dot headquarters. It's beautiful, man. I've done hooked it up to where you go and you can book right from there.
Okay.
Or you can make the phone call. You can email, and there are several different sessions that you can take to being able to do all this. It's an interview process, nonetheless, to making sure that we can know exactly what we need to know to going out and doing what we need to do.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That makes
It's a very specific process and takes a little bit of a time, but that interview is key.
So geographically, what areas geographically do you cover? Because you're tied into all these different groups, right? And you have this large enterprise of individuals. Geographically, where do you cover?
Okay, right where we're at in South Carolina. Okay, I am a state team. That's how I started this, and that's basically being able to take care of the other teams involved internationally. If they needed help in South Carolina, they always call and need me.
Gotcha.
I'm right there for them.
Cool.
Or vice versa, just
All
as
right.
much.
So if you're in South Carolina and need to get a hold of somebody, now you have a contact.
That's right. We have a director of Upstate right here with me, Jason Newman. We have a director in Charleston, Rachel Riggs, and we have a director in Myrtle Beach, and that is Archbishop Rawcliffe, Prior General Rawcliffe, for my demonology department as well. And we are also being able to take care of Georgia now because of the discernment that I have to do for the demonology department. The Solomonic Order of St. Michael's Archangels, our archdiocese, is making sure that I cover South Carolina and Georgia for the discernment in the cases. I'm lead investigator for it.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you for having me, man. This is fun.
I'm
very
definitely
cool.
having a good weekend.
Yeah. The Belmont is so beautiful that I could not pass this up. It was a vacation because I'm always dealing with the harder cases. There's so much problematic areas there. I heard about this and I was like, oh, vacation time.
That sounds
Here
like
we go.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all about fun. You know?
A fun time to get together with people that and have some good conversation.
Yeah, great people. That's what it is. That's what it is. Good times.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, high fives, good vibes, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
You've been listening to Arcane Carolinas. Thanks for joining us. If you liked it, give us a rating, leave a comment. If you didn't like it, send us an email and tell us why. If you're not wrong, we'll try to fix it.
And if you're interested in award-winning speculative fiction, including science fiction, urban fantasy, and horror, find me, Michael G. Williams, at michaelgwilliamsbooks.com, and check out Falstaff Books at falstaffbooks.com.
If you'd like to pick up some Arcane Carolinas merch, look at behind-the-scenes info, pictures, videos, stuff like that, all the things that get cut, check out arcanecarolinas.com, where you can get access to our Patreon, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, all that in one place, including the merch store. Buy a shirt.
Clothe your body.
Drape your body in our wares.
Be our living billboards.